Hello there, I am Marcus, also known as Pixel Manta Online. I made the game Mythsoul. So this is a quick video to go over the rules of Mythsoul and how to play it, just in case you prefer watching a video instead of reading the pesky rulebook. But also if you want some clarification on any of the rules, you've played a couple of games and maybe there's something you don't understand. I'll try and do it in segments so that you can skip to the segment that you wish to learn about. First and foremost, Mythsoul is a two-player game. You're going to be playing against one opponent. You will share the deck, so you just need one deck to play. This elemental bonus card is also useful to have out just visible between both players to remind you of the elemental bonus system that I will discuss in a later part of the video. If you are more than two players, it should be a very quick game. It takes a few minutes to complete, so you can switch out players, do some sort of tournament style. That is a very easy thing to do with a game like Mythsoul. So getting into it, how do you win a game of Mythsoul? Well, you simply want to keep cards in your hand. Just don't run out of cards, and you will win if your opponent does run out of cards. To do this, you will be playing what are called souls from your hand. That is a type of card. There are three types of card in Mythsoul. There are souls, locations, and prayers. Now, each type of card will have their type written at the top, so soul, location, or prayer. But you can also easily tell with the value in the middle. So if it is a soul, it will have a base value in a little circle in the center of the card. Locations don't have that, and they are the 2s and 3s of each suit, and their artwork will go to the edge of the card. And finally, prayers also don't have a base value in the center, and they are represented by the suit icon for each one. They are just the 4s, so there's just one for each suit. You want to make sure you have a soul in your starting hand. If you do not have a soul in your starting hand, then reveal your hand to your opponent, shuffle those cards into the deck, and redraw a new 5 cards. It is very unlikely you won't have a soul in your starting hand. It is possible, but most of the cards in the deck are souls. But how do you play souls? So it's very easy. There's going to be 2 states in the game. Either there are no souls out on the field, in which case both players need to play a soul from their hand face down. You reveal them at the same time, and then you can determine who is the winner from there. If your opponent does have a soul out, then it is on you. It is your turn to play a soul out onto the field to attempt to defeat their soul. To do that, you will just play a soul from your hand that you wish to play. And then you can determine whether who is the winner. The winner of each interaction will draw a new card into their hand. The loser will discard their card to the Underworld, which is the name of the discard pile in Mythsoul. You will see it referred to as the Underworld in various texts and abilities. The third thing that can happen is that there is a tie if both cards end up at the same value after all the alterations are done and nobody has any cards to play from their hand. In the event of a tie, both cards will be discarded to the Underworld. Nobody will draw a new card, and both players will be required to play a new soul from their hand face down. There is an additional important rule to remember about Mythsoul, which is at any time you can discard 2 cards from your hand to draw 1 new card. Now, this is really useful if you can't defeat your opponent's soul. If there's nothing in your current hand to be able to deal with it, discarding 2 to draw 1 new card can help you get out of that situation. You might find new combinations or a new card that can help you out of this current situation. Obviously, you are going down one card to do so. You are getting closer to the losing position, so be very careful when to do this, and do it only really if you absolutely need to. Another important aspect of Mythsoul that you will come across quite often is the elemental bonus system. So this little card will remind you, but it is the idea that the base values of each card will be altered depending on the element of the card they are going against. So in this case, the water soul hippocampus will get a +3 bonus against the fire soul eos, so it will bring it up to 10. That is a really good way of helping you defeat your opponent's souls if their value seems a little too high. You can play a lower soul as long as it's the right element to get that bonus. Locations are an important card type. You can play them from your hand only if your opponent has a soul out and you do not. So if you're in the position where you're attempting to defeat your opponent's soul, you might have a location in your hand that can help. So play the location before you play a soul, and you can try and take advantage of the effect that the location gives you. This might be a bonus to a certain element, a minus to a certain element, or just an ability that you find really useful right now. So always play the location before you play your soul. Hopefully it will help. If not, it does stay around. So if any of the souls go to the underworld, the location stays active between rounds. So it will never go away unless your opponent or yourself play a new location. So if you play a new location, or your opponent plays a new location, it replaces the location that is currently there. So you discard that location to the underworld, and the new location is active. Locations do have while active abilities that affect both players, so that is good to bear in mind. And the third type of card is a prayer. Prayers are very easy. They have discard abilities only, which means at any point you can discard a prayer to get its effect. Brings us nicely onto the abilities. So there are 3 types of abilities in the game. There's while active abilities. These will always be in effect as long as the soul or the location, which are the only cards that have while active abilities, is on the field. So if it says while active, then read what the card does. That is always going to be in effect no matter what happens. The second type of ability is on play. So that will take effect when the card becomes active on the field. It will happen. Or if a soul is turned face up, it will also happen there. If both cards have on-play abilities and they are enter the field at the same time, resolve the cards from the highest value downwards. If the card is no longer there at the point where its on-play ability can happen, then it will not happen, depending on what has happened before it. But always go from highest value downwards. And the final type of ability is discard. So at any point, you may discard this card from your hand to the underworld to get that effect immediately. You will find these abilities on souls, which is useful if you have no other use for this soul. If its value isn't high enough, then maybe you can use it for its effect instead. And also, all the prayers have discard abilities. So you discard it to the underworld, and that effect will happen immediately. Some cards will say attach. So if it says attach, that means you will attach the card to the card that it's referring to when its ability happens, or a card that you choose if you are playing it from your hand. And that card will receive the effect of that ability. So Hera says when you discard Hera, you can attach it to any active soul, and it gets no elemental bonus. So attaching Hera to Ares will mean that it will not get the +3 bonus against Ore. Once the card is attached, if at any point the card it's attached to leaves the active field, for example, if Ares goes to the underworld, then put the attached card also in the underworld. If a card instructs Ares to be shuffled in the deck or to go into someone's hand, also put the attached card in the underworld. Some cards will have 2 triggers for its ability. So, for example, the Golden Eagle has its ability will happen either if you discard it from your hand or if you play it onto the field. So, in either of those scenarios, it will happen. You just need to choose which it is more useful. And that is everything you need to know to play a game of Mythsoul. So remember, play souls from your hand. Try and have a higher value than your opponent. Play locations only if you don't have a active soul to attempt to defeat your opponent. And play discard abilities from your hand. Please always bear in mind that you can play discard abilities from your hand. So thank you for being interested in playing Mythsoul. Please have a few games, get used to how the mechanics play. Hopefully you'll have some interesting interactions and combinations. That'll be me for today. You can find out more about Mythsoul on my socials, which is at pixelmanta, or the website, which is pixelmanta.co.uk/Mythsoul. And the most important rule of all is please have fun.